what's up, Trash Talkers? Here it is with the fifth principle of patrolling. For those of you who never went to the Ranger School, the Army's premier leadership school, that is common sense. And finally, we have finally got somebody on here to explain something to us that doesn't make sense to Buddy and I. And again, we're lining up a big sponsor, but I don't know if they're going to show up, but they're going to be here soon. I think it's going to be a big deal. We can't really announce the details yet. But with us today is Dr. Tony Brooks.
Doctor.
He is an expert, all right, in what we're going to talk about. So let's just get right down to it. There's a lot of social media hype about the new emoji that Apple has released with a pregnant man. And so what we wanted to talk about that doesn't make sense to us is, can a man actually get pregnant?
Oh,
a really good question. No.
Well, that's all we have for this week's fifth principle, and we will check you out next month. Thanks for stopping by.
party guy.
Okay, all right, welcome back. So if you listen to that first minute and a half segment of the fifth principle, that we were just pulling your leg a little bit, maybe not really. There's probably one or two of you listening who actually think men can have babies. But we're gonna dive into this. We're gonna figure out like what exactly constitutes a man. Pregnancy.
Have you ever seen the movie? It's a comedy. It's supposed to be a comedy. It's called Idiocracy. That's not supposed to be a how-to book. It's supposed to be a satirical comedy. And we have the Matrix might be real, and it's been taken over by an idiocracy bug. Like I saw two things that are in this line. Saw a video today on TikTok of a man who was talking about how he told his parents, he came out to his parents for not being gay after having been gay and queer and all this stuff. And then he said that he was interested in women, and his dad was like, well, it would be great for you to get a young lady pregnant so that we can have grandkids. And he was like, well, I'm gonna get pregnant. What? I don't get it. And then I saw another one where a guy was pouring vegan strawberry milk, and it's vegan because it's strawberry flavored and not because it comes from strawberries. How are we there? How are we there?
Well, I mean, we're waiting for, what was his name? Hector Camacho, the president, the porn star and wrestling guy from that movie. And you know, like, yo, you're the smartest man in the world. I thought your head would be bigger. Now, Dr. Brooks, does the size of your head have anything to do with your intelligence or common sense levels? This is a serious medical question.
No.
Hey,
not at all.
Now, on that same question though, does the side of your head have anything to do with your ability to have a baby though? Because maybe it does, because that's where it would have to.
I mean,
that would be the water slide it would come out of. So
the
theoretically,
size of the baby's head maybe would matter.
It would have to be large, girth-wise anyway.
But hey, I'll put this picture up too. We'll give a plug. Leave No Man Behind is who we brought on the show, the author of Dr. Tony Brooks. He's been on the Veteran Trash Talk Hour and was a phenomenal guest. But he's a real Ranger though, Buddy. Not like us. Buddy's a special forces guy. He tried to one up everybody. But
one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As the long tabbers would say in Ranger School, at least I get paid for my tab. They would always say that. And I'm just like,
I would have to say that as a long tabber, it's always funny to me when some 18 X-ray that straight out of the Q course goes, well, I don't need to go to Ranger School. I've already got my tab. Like, nope, not the same thing. Not the same thing. Like, I could make the argument if you were an E6 that came over from the regular army and you had your long tab, but maybe. But if you're just some dude, no, you definitely need to go find out what second feels like.
Yeah, your 2 weeks of SUT.
Oh,
Not gonna quite.
dude,
Not gonna quite.
My SUT was awesome. Like,
Yeah.
My instructors were just like, yeah, go ahead and teach it. So I taught it, and then they would like.
Well, you were been in the army for 26 years at that point.
One time they made us dig some graves because some people got killed, and we
Fratricide.
were like,
It's an old move.
it wasn't fratricide. We actually had left a piece of our equipment, and they were like, now the enemy knows you're here. They know it's Americans. You're all dead. We're like, that seems like a huge leap, but whatever. All right.
They didn't realize that it was Americans when the support by fire opened up and we had indirect coming out. And they didn't figure that shit out either. But
we didn't have any support by fire.
Yeah, no, that's the old training.
Anyway,
yeah.
Can we go back to pregnant men?
We will. I'm gonna segue into that. So Dr. Tony Brooks, I don't know if you follow, you guys who are listening, this is our #1 rated podcast as far as the audio being downloaded. So if you're listening, Dr. Tony Brooks has a Facebook page, and it's phenomenal what he's doing on it. So he's up in liberal Washington, right? And he's going to local restaurants, and I'll let him explain this, and ones that aren't from the book of Stalin. Right, he promotes them, and he goes there. So why don't you talk us a little bit about what you're actually a doctor of? Because like we always talk about, Buddy's a freshman at Austin P.
I am a senior. Well,
they counted Pathfinder as like a 3-credit course. I don't know why.
They actually counted Ranger. So for real, they counted Ranger school as an outdoor adventure elective.
That should have been like an associate's degree.
But also, I would like to say that I'm basically the same as Dr. Brooks because I'm wearing Beats by Dr. Dre. So same thing.
You gotta trust the science.
Almost equivalent.
I would agree, actually.
Yeah.
He is a real doctor. He was a doctor before I was even, out of diapers. So
true.
Yeah, so feel free to go back on our Veteran Trash Talk Hour podcast and learn more about Dr. Brooks if you choose to. We don't need to talk about that again. But tell us what exactly you're a doctor of, and
your feel good.
Yeah. So I like to say I'm a doctor of whatever the fuck I want to be, but really it's a doctor of chiropractic. So I'm working on people's spines and nervous systems.
Right. So you actually have more schooling than a physician, correct?
I would say it's equivalent schooling.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of chiropractic. So let's just say you do have an idea of how the body works.
A little.
Okay. I hope so for your clients, but that it actually does work. Now,
let's be honest about the human body, though. We're finding out new stuff every day. So anyone who says they're an expert in the human body, you got to really question what they're saying, because every single human's different, and you may be the expert in that human, but not that one.
Right. So in your studies, has there been anything that has led you to believe that a man could actually get pregnant?
Yeah. I mean, I just read an article the other day. It was a doctor saying that men can get pregnant. This was a OBGYN. And so I'm like, okay, I got to read this.
Clickbait. Got it.
You tell me what the premise of this article was.
Yeah, so I start reading, and it says, and you correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't understand any of this jargon, but someone who was assigned male at birth cannot have a baby unless they have this new procedure, which is a new uterine transplant that they're going to start trying. Yeah, they're going to put a uterus in someone who was born a male or assigned male at birth. I think that's how they call it. Now,
here's my question.
Oh, he's triggered. He couldn't wait. He couldn't wait.
No, trust me. I already know what question's coming.
Well, here's my thing to you. So as a chiropractor, as a physician, as a surgeon, all of those things, does it really strike anyone as a healthy expenditure of time to pretend that your chromosomes are somehow able to be switched after you're born? Like there are definitely different procedures that you do on a male patient than a female patient. There are different like drugs that you can use on a male patient and a female patient. There are different diseases that attack male patients and female patients. Doesn't it, like, as a doctor, doesn't it kind of like, why would you muddy those waters with anything that would question, like, because now you have to go, okay, like, so I see that you have this, but like you have to be Dr. House to figure out, like, freaking
Dr. House is legit doctor too.
Was like, originally, like, okay, what countries have you been to? Have you chopped your penis off? Like, what were you like? We can't figure out what's going wrong with you because you're presenting as female, but you're actually got all of the signs and symptoms of having male sicknesses. Like, it just seems dangerous to me. Like,
actually,
especially in that field.
Why is it dangerous?
I mean, I've
had some way to argue this with you.
It's gonna be tough. So I treat people mostly for back pain and neck pain and things that aren't super complicated, right? So they come in with back pain. You know what the number one cause of back pain in females is?
Pregnancy?
Yeah, their cycle or pregnancy. That's it. Those two things are the number one cause of back pain.
Well, I can imagine
if someone comes in with back pain and they're a man, or they present as a man, I'm going to quickly rule that out as one of the options.
Now you can't.
I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
In fact, I have to ask multiple questions about gender, saying, what do you identify as? What were you born as? What are your parts? Like, I have to ask these questions.
Well, right, because here's a bigger question. Like, and you're a chiropractor. Your patients are almost always conscious. What if they're rolling into the emergency room unconscious from a car wreck or from, something else, and they don't have the ability to answer this long litany of like medical history questions because they're unconscious, and then the doctor starts treating what he's seeing or she's seeing, and something happens, who's liable for the fact that you basically, you advertised yourself as one thing, but you're a different thing. Yeah.
I mean, you could run into problems there. For example, a car accident, someone's unconscious, they're pregnant, but they appear as a man. I mean, you may have to give emergency birth to a baby, or you just think, wow, that guy's got a huge beer gut. I mean, both are possibilities. So yeah, this is like a major issue. And I'm in Seattle, so it's like that's like Tuesday.
It looks like you're on a prairie.
Yeah, it looks like.
Actually, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, I'm actually in Africa today. I don't know if you can tell. I'm on the.
You went there where the life began to find out if they were actually born not a man or a woman.
Actually no. I'm just here for the restaurants that don't card me to go into, and they're all right. There's one right back there.
Yeah.
No,
you didn't have to go that far. You should have come to Clarksville, Tennessee. We don't card anybody.
Now I made some posts on Facebook today, so obviously we're recording this. But if you watch the news on, let's just say 7 or 8 February, and I had to watch the news every day for a year because my job was to disseminate COVID information based on what the news was saying, what the government was actually saying, what the CDC was saying, and then what the general was saying. So I had to make sure no matter what you freaking heard, that you understood what it is that we're doing, right? Like, so I was forced to watch mainstream media and whatever. But so now I'm like addicted to it because I just want to yell at. Like it's my morning. I drink coffee. I yell at it. Right? Like, are you freaking serious? But like, how quickly did that narrative change to where now even Governor Newsom in California is lifting the mask mandate inside? Right.
Well, I don't know if that's for that or it's because
midterms are coming up.
Well, midterms are coming up and people are done.
Right.
People are finished. Like that trucker convoy in Ottawa that drove across Canada.
News doesn't talk about it.
Now they want a trucker convoy in the U.S. to go to D.C. I mean, God, that'll be just another one of those January 6th freaking.
Right, it's another insurrection of white supremacists, but and
veterans that forgot their guns.
Right,
you remember those?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Well, but I wonder. Speaking of Africa and other countries, I wonder if other countries that have actual problems, like that their people have to find water and food on a regular basis and can't be snobby about the type of, like, they'll eat a caterpillar because it's protein, as opposed to being like, I only eat things with 2 or less legs. I don't eat 100-leg things. Like, I'm a 100-leg vegan, and I don't eat all of that.
I'll have a double bacon cheeseburger and no bun because I'm paleo.
Yeah. I'm gonna eat I'm gonna eat like the Paleolithic people ate. So let me get that cheeseburger because I'm sure there are a lot of cavemen chomping on fucking Big Macs with no lettuce.
As we love the train wreck that this usually turns into with us, I did have a segue to get it back to the expert, buddy. Okay, remember we're challenging the expert to what doesn't make sense to us. And did you even write anything on your whiteboard? Are there any notes up there for the show?
No, I still have my list up there from the other day. But it's so there's a lot of X's. I X'd a lot of stuff. I even was doing my Facebook pro page right before I had to go get the kid. So
what I was going to talk about the mainstream media changing their narrative is how quickly the sheep get right in line. And most of my liberal friends on Facebook have unfriended me. You're the doctor.
I think it's unfriended.
Unfriended, defriended.
He's not a doctor of English.
But he's educated, okay?
You go to Yale.
Of the Southwest.
Right.
Okay. So
don't you go to Harvard?
Yeah, he's a Harvard of the Southeast.
That's why I said unfriended. It's a Harvard of the South.
Yale's more of a business school, okay? All right,
at the Harvard of the
Harvard's like law. All right,
we just call it fucked off. Fucked off.
So, but I asked the question on Facebook, and I know there's still a few guys on my page that are still, we're friends, and I was like, "Are you okay with this narrative change? Like, are you, or are you mad? Because you should be furious that the data has come back and it shows that shutting down and wearing cloth masks has 0 to no effect on mortality rate."
Not true. It has a 0.02% effect on mortality rate.
Right. Remember, this is a college study, so they have to write it so that it gets passed. Okay.
So not the same as the change in mortality rate when you put mascara on.
Yeah, I would love to see the amount of error they're allowed in their study to see if it's higher or lower.
No, you can actually read it. It's I believe it's a Stanford study, and it got released and peer reviewed.
That was Johns Hopkins.
Yeah, Johns Hopkins. They that lady came on the news today and was like, "Yeah, kids should not wear masks in school." Like, and it's like, why did they give her airtime all of a sudden now? Like,
science has changed, they say.
Yeah, science has learned, they say, right? They had learned. Now how is it science? Here's what I'm going to get with the emotions.
Regular folks knew like a long time. That's
logical, common sense people with the fifth principle, like that. Were like, I might not be a smart man, but I know that cloth mask.
I know how an air filter works. I know how an air filter works, and if it gets all clogged up, and I keep breathing on the other side of it, it's just gonna blow shit through. We're
not saying COVID doesn't exist. We're not saying COVID's not nasty. We're just saying, like, somebody come make sense of this shit to us. Like, we want to know, like, why should I wear a cloth mask? Like, what's the fucking
Well,
point? Right? Like,
you shouldn't.
especially if I'm asymptomatic, i.e. healthy, like what why? But we haven't got anybody to come on and say that. But either way, it literally has become a mental disorder. All right, to where you either do what you're told, or I'm going to get triggered and lose my shit because you're not doing what you're told. Okay, it has nothing to do with safety or health or common sense or the fifth principle. It's simply, why aren't you doing what you're told?
What do you mean? It's called why aren't you complying?
Compliance.
You're not going to just comply blindly with the government. You know, there was a group of people back in 1938 that complied blindly with the government.
And that's because Jews spread disease.
Didn't work out well.
They all like.
Well, I mean, unless you talk to Whoopi Goldberg.
Hey, the head medical people at the time said Jews spread disease. So how could you?
They also, yeah. I mean, it was science.
It was science.
Yeah. At one point, it was also science that you should put, 120 volts in your brain, and it would make you not mentally handicapped anymore and/or insane. You'd be good. Just lick a light socket.
So I want to get to Dr. Brooks here, and because as a chiropractor, he realizes that the nervous system, it's got fluid, right? It goes up and down, and it pools at the bottom, right, and then it can pool at the top, right? Something like that.
I think you're talking about the CSF, the cerebral spinal fluid.
Yes. So that's kind of what carries all your hey, what's going on with my body
in your
stuff?
Spinal cord.
Yeah,
it's nutrients in your spinal cord, basically.
Okay. Because I was told by a chiropractor, which pretty much makes me like a Holiday Express, which makes me an expert. But I was told hey, your body remembers that because of that fluid, right? And so it'll start protecting itself here, and here. Here's my question with. How much does the nervous system affect your ability to handle a mental disorder?
Well, I would say, do you know any people that are dead?
No.
Yeah, me either. So
I know people who have died.
They are clearly human, right? They're clearly human, but their nervous system is no longer functioning. So none of them have mental disorders. So mental disorders it's a disease of the nervous system.
Right. So we had a sponsor on our show when we first started in Veteran Trash Talk Hour with muscle activation guys. And they were talking about how, your TBI, or even just depression or pain it is a TBI. Because if you hurt yourself, you blew your knee out in a football game. For the rest of your life, unless you can get confident again, you're going to be worried about that knee. It's literally a brain disorder.
Yes.
You're favoring it. So we're going to spiral it off here. If Buddy can handle it.
I'm waiting.
Now here's what I need a doctor to explain it to me. Because I'm pretty set in my ways. I'm pretty strong with this, or a guy from Austin P, if that would help. A senior.
Hey, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Go Govs.
So I've been diagnosed with PTSD, right? And as the Wounding Warriors author, Dr. Gade, has said, all right, PTSD is not a one-all be-all thing. As we kind of just described with your knee blown out, kind of technically PTSD, because if you're thinking about it, it's a disorder in your head, right? So what exactly about PTSD affects you? And so for me personally, it's anxiety and anger management, right? So
you're angry?
I get it. I get angry sometimes. Buddy picks up on it sometimes when he doesn't
send me
start his Facebook page.
Funny story, Nicholas. I was at the doctor today, and I also got the same diagnosis, and he also said that I have issues with anger and competitiveness. And I was like, who knew?
Yeah, shocking.
I knew it before you did, Doc, idiot.
Yeah. So
much better than you.
So again, we gotta build it up, buddy. It's a podcast. We can't just ask them a question and fucking leave. We tried that in the beginning, right? So like, gotta build it up. Joe Rogan style, except not whatever. That's a whole.
Except he asked questions.
That's a whole
you're
different
just
topic.
rambling.
Yeah, I am rambling. That's what I do. All right. But either way, because of my temper, if I decided to go get a job outside of the Army, right, and I go and I lose my shit on a fellow employee, I'm probably going to get fired.
Yeah.
Now, do I get to play the card that, hey, I have a mental disorder? Like, so I shouldn't be fired. Okay. Now I'm
doesn't count for veterans.
Yeah. Right. That's why we stormed the Capitol with no guns and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's like, because we were fucking crazy. We don't need guns. Right. Like,
you don't need no damn guns.
You know, guns. Secret Service can't shoot.
Guns.
Well, that one Air Force lady, God rest her soul, she found out that they could shoot. Anyways, so the Army, when they first allowed transgenders, they said that it would have to be funded and paid for by the government because it was a mental disorder. Therefore, had to be treated. Okay, so here's my question, Doc, for you is, do you get a pass medically, or when you're dealing with your clientele, if you were to call them sir or ma'am, and they lose their shit because they didn't identify, so now they're having a temper tantrum because of a mental disorder, right? At what point in time, who is liable? Because Buddy's talked about this in one of his honesty caps. Who is liable for that mental disorder, and can it be treated?
Man, you're gonna straight up ask me if it can be treated.
You're a doctor.
You know, I don't know if it can be treated. I have no idea.
Well, thank God I rambled on, Buddy, because somebody listened to something.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe
to say that it's a mental disorder would imply that there's a treatment. I would say that. But if it's not a mental disorder and it's just, you know, another line on your intake form, like, you know, male, female, non-binary, et cetera.
What does non-binary mean?
I believe that means you don't
do whatever.
Yeah, you don't associate with male or female. You're something else, but there's no word for it.
Yeah, there's words for all of them.
Binary.
Non-binary means that you're not attached to either one at any particular moment. You can be basically, you know what? And this is my common sense theory for the whole thing, right? At some point in the last 10 years, it became a fad and something to be cool that you could be on the fringe to be gay, pan, trans, whatever, right? And I dealt with this a lot with my
special forces,
younger, my children, actually, my daughter, and you know, you try to tell them it like they're at 11 or 12, they're trying, and now younger, they're trying to come up with like, well, I'm this and I'm that, and you're like, whoa, you're not even old enough to have, like, you don't know what the difference between a friend and someone you're romantically inclined to, like, you don't know the difference in those feelings. Why would you label yourself as anything? Well, it seems like they had to label themselves at one point as either gay or straight. And the cool thing has been, and like for instance, my daughter, when she was in middle school, it's like, how many friends do you have that are quote unquote gay? And she was like, probably 13 or 14. And I was like, you realize that statistically that is an anomaly, that either most likely 11 of the 12 are completely full of shit, or like you have like legitimately statistically the gayest group of friends that's ever existed. Because
or they're just non-compliant, right?
There aren't that many people. And
you can't tell me I have to be straight.
They just want, it was cool to be something. Well, then they started finding out, wait a second, I'm not this. Well, they can't just admit to their friends, hey, I labeled myself at 12 years old as gay or straight. Well, I wasn't really gay. So now I'm queer. Now I'm non-binary. Now I'm this, because all I'm gonna, because now I just like guys or I like girls or whatever, but I can't call myself, if I call myself straight, I can't be in this group anymore. It's just like people on the far left and far right. They didn't get that far apart overnight. They got that far apart because they were like, well, if I'm going to be with this group, then I'm going to have to agree with these things. And then the more they went over,
no matter
the more
what,
they were like, this sounds fucking crazy, but I can't say no, because if I say no, they're going to kick me out of the group. And then you got like the freaking, the Bible thumper, like, let's, freaking everybody needs to wear a
the person who thinks the Bible is written in English. Yeah.
Like a burqa, and then you got the people that think men can get pregnant on the other side, and that you should cancel rent and cancel the police on the other.
Was there a question? Was there a question?
No, we were talking about like whether that's a mental disorder. It's not not a mental disorder if it's not something that it's an environmental disorder.
All right, so let me
that people choose to like, no, some people, there are gay people, but some people recently have chosen to align themselves with that community because they can get the benefits of being in that community, i.e. their opinion matters. Like, they could say whatever the fuck they want, man. They can't, they're beyond reproach, but they don't have to have any of the consequences of like, because if they're binary, they could be gay, right? But like, if you're a binary dude, you don't necessarily have to make out with another dude.
So I think Dr. Brooks,
you're telling a girl that.
I think Dr. Brooks, what he's asking you is, can chiropractors stop you from being gay?
I don't know that adjustment. I actually have had people ask me, do you know the attitude adjustment? I've never had anyone ask me, do you know the gender confusion adjustment? I don't even know what to call it.
Imagine if it was like just like the L5 was out of position, and it just bam, I'm straight again.
Oh man!
Like literally, get it? Because it's straight in your back. Like,
come on, I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't mean to adjust you there.
I would definitely like to go on record for saying that I would not want all of the, like, I would not want, if you were a legitimately gay dude or a gay chick, I don't want for you to go get an adjustment and become something that you're not legitimately. I just wish that the people that were faking the funk and stealing the spotlight from those people would shut the fuck up and just be normal and stop being a dick and taking it. There are people that actually, that is a mental disorder, right? That they have to deal with on a daily basis. But all of these other people that don't actually have that would be like if we all went out and being schizophrenic was a cool thing. And we were out like, oh, I'm hearing voices. Oh my God, I'm putting poop on my face because the voices told me, but we really didn't hear the voices. We're taking away the resources that those people that actually need things should get. Plus, if you fix the back or whatever adjustment makes all those people straight, gay dudes rage, bro. You ever partied with gay dudes? It's fucking awesome. Those dudes don't give a single fuck.
It's like partying with infantry guys.
No.
It is.
Because infantry guys even have a limit at some point. Gay dudes
not really.
Nah, an infantry guy will not, in fact, like be like, let's fucking go out. We're gonna put high heels on. We're going out to this freaking tranny club. We're having a baller ass time. And then not only are we gonna party it out, but I'm gonna hook you up with chicks. Infantry guys will just sit there telling all those chicks that all day, I wouldn't treat you like him. I would be better. I would be better than him. Yeah. Nah, gay dudes not do that. They're like, you need to hook up with him. He is awesome. And fucking yeah, dude. Thanks.
This is not just a hypothetical here.
No, this is not.
No, this has happened
about this before.
Wingman ever. Wingman award. Every gay dude.
What are you playing with? What is that? Is that a loofah?
Oh, it's a dog toy. No, it's a dog toy.
Is it?
It looks like a fleshlight.
Yeah, looks like
No, dude, seriously, come on.
Yeah, that's you. That's buddies. Yeah.
We're better than that. Not but we're better.
There's a reason why he got all those tabs, and so that he doesn't make up for that hole that he puts into.
I got
the long and the short tab.
Yeah.
I got a big ass truck too, with a 4-wheel drive and a dog that'll bite you.
And those of you, I think it was like episode I don't know, maybe 20 of the Trash Talk Hour. You go there and Buddy talks about lifted trucks. It's pretty entertaining.
The diaper ones.
Yeah. But Dr. Brooks, again, let's bring. I guess we can get back to some kind of, seeing as we wasted your time here as whatever. Hope you had a good time. It's for our mental health. This is how we get over shit. But again, I'll show it. I'll put it up on a thing again. But it's he's an author. He writes. Okay, so it's Leave No Man Behind. Check us out again on the Trash Talk Hour where he promotes it. But go buy his book. All right, it's phenomenal. But let's get to you now and talk about your profession as a chiropractor. Give us a story where somebody came in and knew more than you, or at least thought they did.
Every day,
really?
I mean, oh yeah, Dr. Google really is prominent, and people come in with diagnosis. They'll print it out, they'll hand it to me. This is what I have, and I ask questions and like, hey, so. Where'd you get the diagnosis from? He said, oh, Google. Got it from Google.
WebMD.
Typed in my symptoms and it told me. So
I think they came to you and not an oncologist. Google usually tells you have cancer.
Yeah.
From what I've seen.
Yeah, my finger
there's
hurts.
always like bullet points and they circle the one that's theirs. And yeah, cancer is like 3 or 4 bullet points down.
Yeah.
Always.
But they don't want it to be too serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's either, some type of melanoma or I need my back adjusted. So one of those two.
Hey, but let's get you were getting somewhere with women with their menstrual problem causing back pain.
That's actually a very common problem.
Really, because obviously, unless I decided to identify as a woman, I would have no idea what that felt like.
Yeah. So when you have back pain, that's your menstrual cramps.
Okay, so I could start saying, can I start saying that medically? Is it accepted yet?
What do you identify as?
If it's more like if I get money for it, disabled wise, can I be like, hey, my back hurts because I had my period yesterday. But you're a 40-year-old.
Probably wouldn't get disability for that.
But if I'm a 40-year-old man with a period, that's not normal. So there's something wrong.
Called hemorrhoids, dog. You got hemorrhoids, huh?
They might just raise your PTSD rating.
Right.
Say, we don't know what to do with this guy.
Yeah.
We don't want veterans to kill themselves, but I mean, this guy thinks he has his period every month.
Just give him more money.
Just give him more money. Throw money at him. He'll go away. Let's see here, buddy. What have you run into in college now that you're a senior in college, but your first actual year at college? How is the movement on campus? Is there any? Play with your
yeah.
My pointer.
In front of the camera.
Pointer,
there we go.
It's actually a pointer. All right, guys, you go over there. Anywho, you know what I found on college campus? What about you? You're also in college, or do you go to the internet U?
I am in the internet U because I am at the Yale of the Southwest UTEP, which is in Beta territory. There's no way we're going to class.
You know what I have noticed? And this is not a college thing. It's just like a everybody thing.
Common sense thing.
People don't make fucking eye contact anymore. Period. Like, it is so weird to walk through campus and like look at people and say, good morning, good afternoon, how's it going? Just being polite. I'll get out of your way. Not a huge deal. Go ahead. Have a good day. And the entire time you're doing it, they look like they're just like looking down, like, oh, okay, have a good day. And they just like walk by. If they say anything, mostly it's a mumble, and then they look down and like right, and they're just like, just don't see him, and he won't. I don't know what it's a product of, like cell phones or technology, that they just can't socialize anymore. But I have noticed that people do not talk. And then in class, like there's only like 3 people that will like participate in the class, and then everyone else is just, oh, AOL, being late's fine. You can be an hour late for a class that only lasts an hour. Like it's whatever. Who are you? Okay, sit down. Cool. It's just weird to me. Maybe that's a veteran thing, like just leaving the army and going to college and seeing the difference between like especially civilian kids and like army kids, but even army kids, like
So
look me in the face and talk.
if you're listening right now, in the thousands that you are, right? If you're a veteran that can explain why you are gay, right, to us.
Why are you gay? Who says I'm gay?
No, because like what you said, are you doing it for acceptance, or are you doing it because that's your lifestyle? That's what you accept yourself as? Like, if you could come on here and chat with us about that, again, we're not saying you're wrong. We're not saying that there's anything wrong with you. We're just like, we would like to know, maybe to understand. And then also, oh crap, I already forgot what other thing you were talking about. If you can, come on and explain to us like the whole non-eye contact thing. Because the PGA Tour was able to do that with the roars, the tiger roars. They said, when did these roars at these golf courses start happening? Because it was always the golf clap, right? When something happened, it was the cell phone. People were recording the shots, so they couldn't clap. They yelled. So literally the tiger roar was because of the cell phone. And Apple, if you want to sponsor us, there you go. But like because they can't clap. I don't know if you can come explain that to us, to why you.
Have you guys ever heard of the Seattle freeze?
No.
So this is like a known phenomenon in the Pacific Northwest, that people do not talk to each other. When you walk on the street in Seattle, if you say hi to someone, they will walk faster in the other direction. And it's known as the Seattle freeze. People don't really, like on the street, or if you're in line at Starbucks, for example, it's silence, or everyone's looking at their phone. No one will talk to anybody. I'm always looking around and just like, does anyone even know that the other people are here, or are they just like in their little bubble?
That seems like it would be a challenge. Like that would be just fun to fuck with people by
like, I'm gonna catch up to you and like, hey, I said hi to you.
Hey, remember me from the rave? What did they do in Seattle? We went to the Needle together. Remember you were up there? We were just. I think
you just protest now.
I don't know. The only time I went to Seattle was when I was teaching in the Pathfinder course, and we went up there to go to the.
That's a 3-credit course, by the way, college.
Yep, there was you get some air traffic control credit too.
Yes, you do. You get a credit for air traffic control. It's fucking hilarious.
I taught that. Like, not a huge deal. I should have got extra credit, but we
control aircraft. No, I can't.
And there was a homeless woman with large
tracts of land.
Older gravity
affected
mammary glands that were disproportionate on both sides. They were not symmetrical. They were, and but both of them had brown stains directly on the nipple portion. And I remember being like, that's an odd look. Let's go see what the Space Needle looks like. Yeah.
Unfortunate. That sounds like Seattle, actually.
It was.
So I have some insider information about Dr. Tony Brooks back in the day, where he was not able to achieve the Derby phase in the first try, but I think I figured it out. I figured out why he got that no-go. It's because you're living in Seattle. Why? Because you're violating the 5th principle of patrolling unless you're there to heroically save the city, like then I'll buy that excuse. But
I know people that have been there that are super conservative, by the way, that absolutely love that city.
well, you gotta love the West. We talked about this before the show started. You
It
love the West
used to
Coast.
be an amazing city.
Yeah, well, that's the way to be on. Like, if you're a fringe person at this point, go to Seattle and be conservative, dude. You'll be the most fringe, like, because everybody in Seattle. That's the other thing I noticed about Seattle, and I don't know if it's changed, Dr. Brooks, but maybe it has. Everybody.
I'm gonna take Seattle all over this shit when I release it, so it's gonna be good.
Everybody's nonconformist the exact same way. Like the ability for them to conform to nonconformity in order to not conform is the most ironic, hilarious thing I've ever seen. Like, it's super funny while they go get Starbucks or Seattle Fest and talk on their Apple like iPad. It blows my mind. It's the funniest shit I've ever seen.
That's a really good analysis of Seattle. It really is. It's all the like used to be hippies that were fringe and looking out for the environment and saving the orcas and all these things that people are like, wow, that's cool.
All great causes.
Yeah, that's great. That's cool. But I mean, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go swim and save a whale.
I'm not going to learn about marine biology.
But now, like you're saying, everyone's an environmentalist here, like every single person.
Right, but they're environmentalists that don't do any of the actions that environmentalists.
That's what he said. He said they're not going to go do anything about it.
No, they don't even do simple things like not drink,
not drive their car,
pick up trash,
plastic cups, or not throw trash all over the place that's going to go into the sound, or like any of that stuff. And they're like drinking their latte that they got when they drove their freaking Subaru to go get it. It's weird.
They won't salt the streets when it snows because it runs into the sound.
That's salty.
But they'll take their old Tesla batteries and not know what to do with them, right?
Lithium.
Like, what am I going to do with this? Like,
it doesn't count if it's not the ocean that touches your actual coast. So if you drop it in the Atlantic, it's fine.
Me as a certified air movement officer, no big deal. Boom. Right? To where did we go to AMO together? Probably not. But
probably not.
Either you probably went in 1997. But
I went no one.
Yeah.
They still had with those 111.
Just hear me out on this, because like what he brought up with the Tesla, like like when you certify a SDDG, a Shipbuilders Declaration of Dangerous Goods, if you don't annotate lithium, like you fail. Like you fail miserably. Like
I did hazmat, same thing.
Yeah. Like
you know what's funny, Nick, is common sense wise. That lithium after used is actually more dangerous than when it's new because it's less stable.
Interesting.
Weird.
Well, I feel good. Okay, I'm just going to put it out there this way, guys. If you've actually listened to this, if you've listened to this whole episode, I applaud you. I'm not going to apologize, but it might be an apology in form to Dr. Tony Brooks for, if he felt like his time was wasted. But this 100% is my therapy, as and it makes me feel like all good inside that maybe I'm not an idiot. All right, so like, if you can come on this show and tell us why we're idiots, we would love that. Like, please rewind it, listen to it, come on the show and explain where we're wrong. We won't judge.
Yeah.
Like
we don't. Whoa, let's hold on.
We might judge you.
One rule, you might get judged, but one rule: you don't get to yell. You don't get to yell and be ridiculous. You just have to be like, you're wrong because of this, and we can go, okay, all right, and then we can have a discussion. You don't get to yell.
They're going to be implanting uteruses in men soon, so you will be wrong.
Uteri.
That's what I wanted to recap with and give you the last word, Dr. Brooks, is the way we started it, you're still in with your medical background and your schooling, even though it wasn't Austin P or UTEP, we'll accept it. Like, unless it was those schools, then you're like a genius. But
he went to the actual Harvard. He went to the Harvard of the North.
I went to USC.
No, private school boy. But anyways, like, yeah, must have been from a rich family.
You know what they did for a veteran? They gave me scholarships for my entire program.
Yeah, my one of my machine gunners, David Flores, was phenomenal. Had a great time at USC. Is killing life right now, loving it. So let's recap with all of your extensive training and understanding of the nervous system and how the body works in unison, symmetrical, yada yada yada. That's all talk.
I think it's anatomy. Anatomy is the word you're looking for.
Stop. Okay, because nobody knows what that word means. All right, it's not real. You can't even spell it.
It's a social construct.
Yeah,
anatomy is a social construct.
Right. So you're going to double down that men cannot have babies. But
I'm going to go with the fifth principle of patrolling actually on this and say, just because you can does not mean you should. Just because they can implant a uterus in a man doesn't mean they should.
Oh,
I'm going to go with that.
Probably, they could probably implant a dick and balls on your forehead, but then you would be blind. There's always repercussions.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying.
Right, and I love the way you said that about the fifth principle. Those of you who aren't military listening or that have never went to Ranger school, if you plan to go up the gut without a support by fire, because you can, right, you're gonna get a no-go.
Okay, I had one of those. So.
Exactly. Hey, how about we just sneak up there and just fucking rush them? Okay,
we could beat their ass.
There's only two of them. There's always only 2 out 4 on the objective. We're good. There's like 8 of us. Like what? Like okay. Stop. Index. Restart. Okay. And either way, like I said, I'm not sorry for wasting your time because I had a great time. I'm sure Buddy had a great time. Buddy
I also had a great time.
Yeah.
I always have a good time.
But
mini flashlight.
Yeah.
I mean, not many. It's normal. It's average. It's average. Sorry. I don't know why you're.
It's average.
Why would you say that? It's average, right? Like it's average.
Yeah, it's average.
You're a doctor. That's an average. It's average. Average. It's average. It's average.
So again, go buy this book. Leave no man behind. All right. And now when he wrote this, he probably didn't realize that it could have been a woman. All right. He had no clue, but didn't know what they identified as, but it's a tremendous story about heroism and just, like what it's just a little taste into what happens, like when you see something for the first time, right? And like on your first mission, and it is what it is. But yeah, go buy his book and then, follow him on all the social media and all that kind of good stuff. But again, fifth principle of patrolling stands for common sense.
Use it.
If you don't know it, it's okay. Right? Like, learn it. It's a learned trait. There's a lot of intelligent people out there that have zero clue about what actually is going on. Right? And then there's also the dangerous side of that too, where there's a lot of stupid people who are not educated, but they know exactly what's going on, and they can't articulate it, and they make you do dumb shit. Okay, so there's that happy medium. You gotta get in there, right?
Methamphetamine.
And then there's methamphetamines who can make you do it for hours, right? Like no sleep. Like, so no, we're not advocating taking meth to learn common sense. It's actually the opposite. But hey, well, again, this is the fifth principle of patrolling, and Dr. Brooks, last word.
This restaurant right over here doesn't ask for COVID vaccines. So I'm coming back to Africa regularly now so I can go eat at restaurants. That's it. That's all I'd like to say.
Love it. See you guys next month.
Doctor.